Hello everybody and welcome back. Today's video we're going to be installing BitLocker, and we're going to go one step further on that. We're also going to install the Zero Touch BitLocker, as some people would call it. What that would do is it installs a PowerShell script, and it gets pushed out via group policy to all the computers and servers on your network, and it'll go ahead and create a BitLocker encryption on each one of them and then send all the keys and data right back to our Active Directory. Okay. Just to let everybody know, the prerequisites to this video, you do need to make sure TPM is installed on your computers and your virtual machines. If it's not, I will show you real quickly how to install TPM on a virtual machine. It's very simple. Okay, if you're in a live environment, please reboot into your BIOS. Make sure UEFI is turned on, and then make sure TPM is enabled in your BIOS. Also, another disclaimer, not every computer has TPM. So the only way to best find out is to log into your BIOS and check this out before proceeding in this video. And like always, everything in the video here, our scripts that we're going to be using will be down below. And they are generalized scripts. So in the case being here, they're not special to my videos in general. So if you go ahead and download the script and you want to run it on your devices today, you're more than welcome to do that. And it will function properly, as you can see in the video. Okay. So to let you know, I am going to do this on a Server 2019 AD. I don't recommend doing this on an Active Directory, but I am running out of server space here to create more and more VMs. I'm also have a Windows Server core that we're going to install BitLocker on it and watch it encrypt without touching it at all. And the same thing is going to go with our Windows 10 Enterprise. Okay, that's going to also have BitLocker installed with a no touch. Now again, BitLocker requires you to have at least Windows 10 Pro and above. So in this case, I believe we're going to be doing this in Enterprise Edition, so let's have an Enterprise. Okay, enough talking here. Let's go ahead and get into how to put TPM on a virtual machine. So I went ahead and created this very simple Pixie OS thing from another video. But as you can see here, TPM is not installed, and we have to get that on here, which is perfect. So in VMware Workstation, you're going to go ahead and click Edit Virtual Machine Settings. Okay, we're going to go ahead and click Add, and we're going to click Trusted Platform Module. And then when we do this, we're going to get technically a grayed out finish and an error saying the virtual machine must be encrypted and using UEFI firmware. Okay, so what that means here is very simple, that this VM has to be UEFI, and we have to make sure that the VM is encrypted. So we're going to go over here to Options. First things first is going down to Access Control and clicking Encrypt, and typing a password that you can remember. And you will have to type in this password every time when you want to use this virtual machine. So make sure you don't forget this. If you do forget this, it renders the whole machine useless. Go ahead and click Encrypt. Now you can see it only took a few seconds for me because I don't have anything on my drive. The more space you have, the longer it's going to take. It can take anywhere from a few moments, as you can see here, up to a few hours, depending on how big the drive is. Okay, that's why I keep a lot of my videos down to like 32 gigs and less. I believe my server here was 64, and when I did that originally, it took about an hour to encrypt 64 gigs. Okay, now after we went ahead and did the encryption here, now we just have to go down to Advanced, and again, make sure that you are using UEFI. All right, so if you did create a virtual machine and you're using the BIOS for some reason, okay, you're going to have to obviously start from scratch and reinstall your OS here to get UEFI as the firmware. Now, once we verify that this here is UEFI and that our encryption is turned on, let's go here to Hardware and try it again. Add, Trusted Platform, Finish. And there we go. So now it adds it. Now it tells you right here, removing TPM will render all encrypted data on this VM unrecoverable. So the second we hit remove, all right, the information that's on here has now been trashed. And then go ahead and hit finish, and there you go. So now I went ahead and did that on my Windows 10 here already, so I took care of that. And the same thing with my core, I took care of that. So we can make this video go by just a smidge faster because, as you can see, I talk. All right, so now let's go ahead and hop in over here to our Windows Server 2019 GUI, because now we're going to install BitLocker on here and the management tool software. Go to Manage, Add Roles and Features, Next, Next, next. Okay, and here we're going to go ahead and hit next again, and then we're going to get two things. We have our BitLocker drive encryption, which I'm going to go ahead and okay that, and again install all the features that come with it. Now the second part is optional, but I always like to install this on any of my BitLocker. It's the BitLocker network unlock. Okay, and that allows the network-based key protector to unlock computers automatically. Okay, so go ahead and add that, and it's going to install a few more things for us. Go ahead and hit next again. This is going to be installing the WDS. Go ahead and click next. Now this will require you to reboot your server. So I'm just going to go ahead and click restart. And this is why I say don't put this on your Active Directory, because if you do, you're going to have to reboot, and then obviously if you're doing it during a working environment, you will crash most people's connections depending on what's going on, or people will not be able to log in or out in that case being. So for this, go ahead and click install. And this is going to take about a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and jump a little further here in the video to the restart. Okay, so upon reboot, you'll be greeted with the Add Roles and Feature Wizard here, Installation Succeeded, and we can go ahead and click Close on that. And we can go ahead and close out the Server Manager dashboard. Okay, so down below in the description, you're going to go ahead and hit and see a section called Scripts, and in there you're going to find two scripts, Encrypt Server and Encrypt Workstation. So to make it simple, I'm just going to go ahead and click Edit on the one. And then we'll go ahead and click edit on the other one. So I can just kind of quickly show you that they are very general, they're very basic, and they work for just about anybody. So Encrypt Server here, what this does here is the first thing I like to do with all my servers, I like to enable PowerShell as default. Considering everything is based on PowerShell, I don't want to log into my core servers and have to type in PowerShell.exe to go ahead and get into PowerShell to do what I have to do. So this is going to actually install PowerShell as the default shell when you log into your Windows Server Core. Then the next thing after that, you're going to have install Windows feature, which you're going to install the BitLocker, reboot the server. Once the server is done rebooting, it's going to go ahead and enable BitLocker on the C drive, create the recovery password, and then it's going to do is skip a hardware test. The reason why I'm skipping the hardware test is it is a server, and if you don't skip the hardware test, you'll have to reboot it manually yourself to enable BitLocker. Because it always wants to test to make sure the hardware is capable of handling this. Now, if you know that your hardware is capable of handling, like mine is, it's going to go ahead and just skip the test, get the installation going. And then down here, this will get you the key ID information and upload that right to our Active Directory. If we go over here to Encrypt Workstations, it's pretty much the exact same thing here, except the top server parts. This is for a server, this is for the server. These are just general how to install. So what this will do is it initialize the TPM, verifies that it works, and if it does, it will go ahead and start creating the test, the encryption. If there is no TPM installed, obviously this part will not function and it will not be encrypted. So now I went overhead and went over all this information for you. I'm going to go ahead and just I'll minimize this. Now I just want to make sure that we're not doing no camera magic with anybody, so I'm going to hop over here to my Windows Server 2019. As you can see, CMD is what logs me right into it, so automatically the shell is command prompt. So I got to type in PowerShell and then get BitLocker volume, and then you can see here I get an error. So this is telling me right now BitLocker is not installed on the system here, PowerShell is not the default, so this is about as bare bones as we can get. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and shut this down because I want to save as much resources as possible. Okay, so again, enough talking here. I'm just going to keep the script folder here like that. We've got to open up Group Policy now. Group Policy Management. And inside here, go to Group Policy Objects. Now, as you can see, I already have two of them created because we are going to create two. One for servers and then one for encryption. But what we're going to do is make it very simple. So again, so nobody thinks I'm cheating, go ahead and delete both of them. Right click, new, and we're going to type in BitLocker for servers. Well, server core, we'll say. So BitLocker for server core. And then from here, we're going to go to edit. And I'm going to make this a little bit larger because we got some things to do in here. So first things first, policies, Windows settings, scripts, startup, PowerShell script. Now in here, we're going to go to hit show files. As you can see, we don't have anything in here. Well, that's where this folder comes in. So let's open up our script folder here. And then what we got to do is just drag and drop. So the two scripts that you downloaded from me earlier, you just have to drag and drop them into this folder. Close out. Then from here, we're going to click Add, Browse, and it's going to automatically open up that startup folder for all the scripts. We're doing the server, so I want to do encrypt server, open, hit OK. Then down here for the group policy, run the script last. I want the script to run last because I want the server themselves to do all its checks first before it gets to this, because it's going to do a restart. It's also going to do a few more things. So I don't want it to kind of start its checks and balances and then all of a sudden, oh, I got to restart, and then crashes your system. So we're going to go ahead and just do this last. Click apply. Okay. Now that we have the script installed here, we have to now make everything work for us. So we need to make sure that the keys and everything hit our Active Directory server, the group policy starts up at a reasonable time, and that PowerShell is enabling remote signing. So from here, administrative templates, system, and group policy. Inside group policy, we're going to look for configure logon script delay, enable, and with me, I like to do 2 minutes. But we can also do 0 in the case being here. 0 is not going to wait. It's just going to automatically process the script right away. Or again, you can do 2. So, or 5 if you really want to. It's up to you. So I'm going to just leave it at 2 just for the sake of the video. Go ahead and minimize that, and let's now go down to Windows Components. Because in here, we're going to go down to the bottom, and the first thing we're going to go is to our Windows PowerShell. And in there, you're going to look on Turn On Script Execution, Enable, and Allow Local Scripts and Remote Sign Scripts. Click Apply and OK. All right, so when we actually do the group policy and it pushes the script out there, and if you're not logged in as an administrator or anything that has the right to run scripts, this will go ahead and overwrite that process to allow any form of local scripts or remote scripts from our server. Now we got to go and now do a few things with our BitLocker. So let's go up here to BitLocker Drive Encryption. And on this page right here, we're going to go store BitLocker recovery information in Active Directory domain services. Enable, require BitLocker backups to Active Directory, recovery password and key packages, and click apply and OK. Then we're going to go here to choose how users can recover BitLocker protected drives. Click enable. And then we got require recovery password and require recovery key. So for example, if we ever have to have if we take the hard drive out and we need to recover the drive, it's going to ask us our recovery password and our key. And I will show you later on where that information is stored. Okay, so now we go to operating system drives. Now we have allow network unlock at startup. Now because I went ahead and installed the network boot, the BitLocker network unlock boot for it, I usually enable this. This is actually to help TPM enable computers to automatically unlock operating systems. Okay, then we go into here and okay, then we have enforce drive encryption type. Enable. Now this is again a preference. Best practices, full encryption. It will take a lot longer to do in full encryption. Be prepared for that. For this video, use space only. So for your lab environment or for the video, we're going to do use space only. But on a real life environment and real world practices, full encryption. Apply and OK. And I have one more in here. Oh, right here. Choose how BitLocker protective operating system drives can be recovered. Click Enable. Allow data recovery agent must be checked off. Allow 48-digit recovery password is fine. Allow the 256. The only thing we're going to change in here, though, is down at the bottom. Do not enable BitLocker until recovery information is stored to AD for operating system drives. And the reason why I checked this off, even though our script tells us that once it creates, and makes the lock to send it up to us, there are some instances where that script part doesn't always perform. So what this does here is it just makes a valid check on the system. So it just checks to make sure, hey, did you actually give me the keys? No, I didn't. Can I have the keys? Sure. Okay. Now you can finish your locking if you haven't completed the lock already. And click OK. And I do believe that should be everything. Let me just quickly glance at the notes here to make sure. And it is. And that's all that's required. So we're going to go ahead and click Exit on there. And we're ready to go. So we have our BitLocker for server core. And now we have to link this to our servers. Now, in my case being, I made my little OU. I have my little headquarters here, my accounting department, it's my security groups, IT, operations, sales. However you want to handle this. I always like to create two groups, one for our servers and one for our workstations. Now, to give you a little more insight of that, I'm going to open my Active Directory. And as you can see here, I have my HQ, my workstation. So they're all my workstation computers that are from computers. I put them in here. And the same thing with servers. All the servers that fall in here, I put them in the server folder. So that when I actually want to run any scripts that are server based or workstation based, it makes it very simple to handle that. Also, for the sense being, if you are the type of person that has, like say IT, and you want to put all your users and computers in the same OU, that's perfectly fine as well. So in this case, I'm going to right click on servers, link, BitLocker for server cores, okay. And then I like to always enforce this. This is something I really, really want to happen. Now the same thing here with security authenticated users. You can always add domain, if I can spell, computers. Yep. Let's try it one more time. Domain computers. Perfect. But you don't need to enforce this. It's just more of an extra security in case something goes wonky with your setup. So now that we're done here, let's go ahead and take a hop over to our Windows Server Core here, and let's launch it and see what happens. So upon the launch here, you should notice a few different things that's going to happen. So now it's applying the computer settings. And if the group policy, applying script policy, perfect. So now what it's doing is here is it pulled the group policy to it. It's now applying the script. And what it should be doing after that is rebooting and installing BitLocker and going from there. Okay, so as you can see here that the server did reboot itself. Okay, once it rebooted, you now get back to the press Control-Alt-Delete to unlock. So we're going to go ahead and type in Control-Alt-Insert if you're using a virtual machine. Type in your password. And as you can see here, my PowerShell is now loaded up, which is perfect. And let's see how it's working out so far. So get BitLocker volume. Encryption in progress. That's pretty cool. As you can see, I didn't touch anything. Nothing was going on with it. This is all done in real time. So let me go ahead and type in manage BDE status C. And there you go. So now I got a little more information here. So it's using BitLocker version 2.0. This is the size that is actually encrypted. Use space only that's encrypted on there. Percentage, encryption method. Now you can go ahead and change the encryption method to a higher ratio in that too as well in group policy. But again, for this video here, not really looking at it to that. Lock status is unlocked. Okay. So from here, looking pretty good. Let's hop back over to our Active Directory here. And let's see where they store those keys. So open up your AD. Go down to my servers. Here's my server for BitLocker. Properties. BitLocker recovery. And there you go. So at 4:08, a few minutes ago, it created this password. Here's the password recoveries. Here's the ID. So there we go. Now you might be saying, what happens when you reboot? Well, we're going to go ahead and find out. Going to go back over here and just close that out while this is rebooting. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, log back in. As you can see, PowerShell is still doing it. Back over here to the server, refresh, BitLocker recovery, 411, 411. So every time it goes ahead and creates it, it just creates a new password. So every time the computer reboots itself, it's always going to create a new password, which is what we want. We want to always keep one step ahead of everybody. So if, I knew that it created this password, at 3:30, 3:40, at this point here, I'm good. This one was created, at noon. So, and it always keeps a record of older recovery passwords. Okay. So let me go ahead here and just shut this one down here because we no longer need this. And now we're going to go ahead and do the workstations. Okay, so what we need to do to create the script for the workstations is actually very simple. We're going to go back over to our group policy management, and inside group policy objects, we're going to go to BitLocker for server core, right click, copy, and then we're going to go ahead and just paste it right back into the same spot. So use default permissions for the new GPO. Perfect. And then we're just going to go ahead and change this. Oops, hit the wrong button. So from here, what we're going to do is go down to rename. And we want to rename it to what it actually is for. BitLocker for workstations. Perfect. Right click and edit. Now the nice thing about it, when you copy, everything that you had from the previous one is here. So when I go down here to, we'll just say administrative templates, system, group policy, still configured and enabled. We go down to Windows Components, BitLocker, still configured and enabled. And the reason why we're doing this is because we don't want it to be anything different than before. We still want the same policy. Unfortunately, servers and workstations are just different, so we can't use the same group policy for both. So to make instead of us retyping everything in or reconfiguring the same thing over and over again, just make one. So we're going to go here to Windows Settings and Scripts, because we just got to change one thing for the startup script. Go to PowerShell Scripts. We're going to go ahead and remove that and click Add, Browse, and then Encrypt Workstation. So if you copied both of them here before, we're just copying one over. Okay. And we're going to click Apply and then OK. And that is it. That was pretty quick, wasn't it? It was pretty nice. But we still got to attach it. So at Workstations here, right click, link, BitLocker for Workstations. And then we're going to click Enforce. And again, that's all that we need to do. So now it's all ready to go for our workstations. I'm going to go ahead and open up my AD real quickly here. So I have my workstations. I just want to make sure that everything's all ready to go. So let's get this thing going. We're going to boot our Windows 10 Enterprise up. Okay. And there's my user. Now, the way this script will work with the workstation is it's based on computers. So anybody who logs in, it'll take care of it. So I am not an administrator. The VMware advisor is not an administrator. At least I don't think so. So let's just take a quick look before I shoot myself in the foot. No, I am. So let's go to a different person. Let's see. Who's my accountant? There you go. My accountant. VMware Advisor 2. So let's use them instead. Okay, once you log in, we're going to see something down here in the little corner. So I'm not an administrator, as we saw. I'm logged in still as somebody. VMware Advisor 2 still there, and the drive is encrypting. I'm going to click on Manage BitLocker. Okay, so as you can see here, it's automatically doing it the second I logged in. Now this screen will normally not appear. It will always be down here in the corner. But I just clicked on that just so that everybody can see this. Now the same thing here. I'm just going to type in PowerShell to just... Alright, so if I want to get... And I should get an error saying I'm not the admin, so I won't be able to view this. And that's exactly it. Access denied. So even though I'm not person-to-person logging as an administrator, took care of the problem anyway for this. Encryption of C is done. So now let's just go ahead and actually log in as a administrator. And then from here, we'll be able to see everything. So like before, TPM, recovery password, protection's on, everything's all good. Operating system is taken care of. If we go manage BD status C, you can see here, use space only encryption. Go back to our Active Directory. Now, like I said before, as you look at my member, I am not anything special. Go down here to Workstations, Windows 10, BitLocker Recovery. At 419, it's 422, close enough. Oh, now I lost it, but nonetheless. All right, so in the sense being here, there's our password. And just again, back here, do one more reboot. I'm going to log in as a different user. And again, once we log in, it should reproduce a new password. And if I log in as the same user as you saw before with the server, it's still going to generate another password. So let's go here, other user. All right, I'm logged in. Everything seems to be normal. Got the lock going on right there. Nice. Manage. Okay, BitLocker's on. That's nice. There we go. And then let's go back over to the Active Directory. Back here. BitLocker. 423, 424, new ID. And that's actually it. So it's a very simple setup here. It takes a little bit of time for you to go ahead and create the group policy and get the scripts going up and running. But once you have everything up and going, this is now completely automated. So the next time you add another computer to your domain or to your workstation here, it'll automatically do it. If you also want to, I mean, there are people here that actually just add directly to domain controllers, or everything has a default domain policy. So if you want to do it in here as well, there's nothing stopping you from doing this in here. So I hope this video helps somebody out. I hope they actually brought a little more information to people on what TPM modules are. And honestly, this is a very nice way, if you never use these devices, on how to test them out on a virtual environment without destroying yours, to make sure everything is working functionally and properly. Again, to test out some of the scripts, it's nice to do it in a virtual environment. So if you like the video, like the video. If you don't like the video, don't like the video, is okay. But I do hope it did help out somebody, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.